Thank you very much. So, the aim of this study, the design project, was to explore ways of co-designing instructional videos together with representatives from elderly care sectors that show how to use personal protection equipment and how to follow basic hygiene routines. To do this, we asked the primary basic research questions. Question: how can the co-design process improve understanding of the challenges involved in the design of instructional live-action videos? And this study took place we started in August 2020 and ended in February 2021. And initially the aim was that we should have been working much closer together with people working in the healthcare, in home care. But despite of the COVID pandemic situation, we couldn't really work as we hoped for, and I will present how we made this study. When we come to this personal protection equipment in home care, what is used is a V-zone, a face mask, which is not in this picture, apron, gloves, and shoe protection, especially during the winter time. So this is the equipment we're talking about. And the background for this project was the employees in elderly care sector are often part-time employees, have Swedish as their second language, and have attended 0 or less than 1 year of nursing school. To support these workers and to prevent the spread of COVID-19, various how-to videos have been developed which shows them how to use protective equipment and follow guidelines for basic hygiene in care environment. However, the videos in question do not adhere the segmenting and contiguity design principles. They are too lengthy, about 14-15 minutes, and they are inconsistent. For example, what is said and what is done in the videos is not synchronized. And in addition, they were recorded in a hospital environment and did not relate to people working with home care. And research through design for mutual knowledge creation, we find that using research through design was a way to learn to know how to create such a video and what kind of knowledge do we need to have as a research team. And the focal point for this design project is not the end product per se, but a mutual knowledge creation which hopefully will be beneficial for both home care workers, designers of instructional videos, as well as the patients and elderly nursing care facilities. This approach essentially means that we regard the end product, the final video instructions, as good enough. Design solution that is based on a realistic expectation. It could not be perfect. And research through design offers ways for the stakeholder to engage in deeper dialogic interaction with regards to how to communicate the proper use of personal protection equipment and basic hygiene routines. And to do this, we use 4 phases according to Harriot. And in phase 1, the background includes a general risk analysis of how, when, and why protective clothing should be used or not, because it doesn't really. Before the COVID, it didn't exist rules for that in home care. And phase 2, the visual prototypes were designed and produced based on the results of phase 1. And in the 3rd phase, the final video was produced based on the dialogues related to the video prototypes. And in the 4th phase, the comments and reflections were sorted after questions regarding how they used the home care workers' personal protection equipment before the pandemic and during in the pandemic. In the first phase, as I told, it was the background, and it included a general risk analysis of how, when and why protective clothing should be used or not. The method used in phase 1 was semi-structured interviews, where one interview was in mixed groups in a collaborative municipality, because we collaborate with one municipality. So we had one interview with them, and then we have an extra interview with home care workers in another municipality. The practice in the municipality which we collaborate with, there were union, when we met for the first interview, there were union representatives from different professions working in elderly care. Assistant nurses, registered nurses, physiotherapists, administrative staff, as well as healthcare managers and medical responsible nurses. And those were the ones who take care of this, that the people should follow the hygiene routines. And after this interview, we made a kind of a slideshow with still photographs showing the different steps, and we show how to put on the protection equipment and how to take it off. And that was based on the interviews. And this is just some examples. We had 18 slides with about 4 to 5 pictures in every slide. And we had comments from the management teams of these slides, and we had met for a dialogue regarding the content of the slideshows. And the discussions was mainly about the advice that home care workers should start by sanitizing all the way up to their elbows before putting on the shoe covers, because she put on the shoe covers first and then sanitized their hands. And most common comments were related to undressing parts, because this was the most complicated one, how to undress and where to put the things. And it was the comments like, do not lay the face shield on the floor, wear gloves while removing the face shield, the gloves should be taken off after the face shield, threw away gloves in the bucket bag at the door, and so forth. I don't have to read this out, but it was on a very, very detailed level. And from that comments, we started to make video prototypes by using iPhones, and as you can see, I pretend to be a home care worker. And since we couldn't be out, it was in the middle of the pandemic, we stayed at home working with this, and we made 7 different videos showing how to put on the protection equipment and how to take it off. And between every version, we met with representatives from the personnel at the municipality we worked, and they come up with different comments that we took into consideration, and then we improved the videos, and then we found new details they haven't seen before. And what I can say, what is the advantage and disadvantage to work with this more realistic way of representations and very concrete things, is the tangible nature of the video made it possible for the nurses to reflect on how to put the hygiene routines into practice, because they only had it in a theoretical level. They didn't work in the field, so to say. And this gave the nurses the opportunity to reflect on the relationship between general rules for routines and the very concrete situation that occurs when a home care worker enters the person's home. So the gap between the written bullet points and the visualized situation became highly apparent. The advantage was the ability to discuss practical issues regarding how to put on parts of the equipment and in what order to put on the bag and the jacket when they leave the home. The disadvantage was that the discussion about details such as what clothes the actor was wearing in the prototype, because I didn't have access to working clothes. I had owned my own clothes, but just continued to criticize that. And in phase 3, we brought in a professional filmman, and we also had a professional actors to work with this, and we also made a video that only tells what to do and not explain why it should be done. And the instructions are segmented by the actors' gestures and easy to follow even for staff that are not fluent in Swedish. And in the final version of the live action video, we had access to working clothing, which the actor wore, but they were borrowed from a different region of Sweden. And that was also something that was comments on, that they couldn't recognize the actual clothing. And I will see if this works. I think I can give you an example. I show a short part of the video.
När du kommer hem till brukaren så börja med att ställa väskan på en pall, en stol eller en byrå. Ta av dig jackan och häng den på klädhängaren. Sprita händerna. Sprita dörrhandtaget och torka av dörrhandtaget.
This is because you will use this handle later on, so.
Ta visiret och häng det på dörrhandtaget. Sätt på dig skoskydden. Trä förklädet över huvudet. Ta kamparna och dra rakt ner.
I think we can stop here. I'll go back. But as you can see, it was very much like this. It's just goes step by step, and it we made two. So, okay. So, in this third phase, we analyzed the videos, and we had a digital workshop where we met with 10 focus groups. Interview were conducted online because we couldn't meet at that time, and it was totally 42 home care workers from 2 units in the municipality that we collaborated with where we met. On the first day, technical administration support was undertaken by a staff member from the administration department, so they can see the videos. On the second day, the manager of the group took care of the administrating the meetings and participated in all interviews which had influenced the interviews. The participants watched the video for the first time. The videos were shown on a computer screen in the room where the participants met, while 2 members of the research team participated online from 2 different places. So we didn't really have control of the whole situation, but it works pretty well. Since the home care workers' working conditions differ in relation to spatial design in the care recipient's home and influence their abilities to strictly follow the standards operational procedures. So it was a different situation from every person they went home to. They create opportunity to reflect the videos, reflect on what it looks like in different homes, in various situations, and how one may adapt basic hygiene routines and the use of PPE, personal protection equipment, to the surrounding conditions. And we have listed the comments in that, because we had asked some questions, and we also have transcribed the comments that we comment. We have listed it, and you can read it in the paper, but it was very much detailed comments on how we show the routines and how they use it in reality. And I would say the general results, all 10 groups found the video to be very useful and easy to follow, regardless earlier knowledge and experience. The overall reflection from the 10 groups were that they found the videos to be instructive, with a good balance between information and performance. They thought that the length of the videos was adequate and that the spoken instruction fit well with the actor's performance. And one comment from group 2 from the first day was that they wished that they have seen the video when the pandemic started. Another comment from group 3 from the same day was that all new staff should see it. And on the second day, we received comments from group 1 mentioning that the video works well for people with limited skills in Swedish, because it also contained people with limited skills in Swedish in the group. In summary, the live action video format functioned very well as an easy of use media object and catalyst for a valuable and constructive discussion about procedures and routines. However, the live action video format is probably less valuable as an actual instruction tool when a user performing a routine. By visualizing instruction and reflecting on what employees do in practice, the gap between written instructions on what to do and how it is performed in reality become obvious, because it was a gap all the time, especially in the discussion with the responsible nurses who seemed to have experience from practical home care. So, how do we answer the question, how can the co-design process improve understanding of the challenge involved in the design of instructional live action videos? All in all, the design of a live action video prototypes include the still photograph sequences told us that they are useful when it comes to concretizing what should be done and how step by step. However, the prototyping also told us that it is extremely difficult to provide a final, exact and correct video instruction on how to follow specific hygiene routines in a home care setting, since, simply put it, as noticed by several nurses, there is no real and fixed nursing home setting. They all vary, both from time to time. And to conclude, we will say, we come to the conclusion that live action video works well for education. Regulations need to be precise and abstract at the same time. This explains why pictogram and graphs are used as visualizations of regulations, because you can't be that concrete that we have been in this live action video. They offer a possibility to interpretation and negotiation. The more abstract pictures. So, thank you.